Good morning. Happy Saturday.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Judith, my dear, beautiful love of my life, out in the Zen room.
I'm
got-
zenning out.
Yeah. Patrick, my dear friend. I was thinking about you this morning. I just want to tell you, I love you very much. Thanks for being a part of our lives.
Yeah, I love you too. Love you guys. I'm very thankful for this as well.
Yeah, I look forward to it every week. It's become selfishly my mental health outlet. So here we are. Okay, everyone, give us a minute. We gotta pull ourselves together, man. Patrick and I were just sitting here talking, and we lost complete track of time. Okay, got the recordings going. Let me pull up the Podbean stream. So we got our one listener on there that tunes in every week.
Hey, one's better than none.
Yes.
You gotta start somewhere.
I hear
Gotta
that.
take that first step.
Yep.
We all know that.
Oh, man. Yes, touche, babe. Got to take that first step. Okay, we got that going. Apologize. Slow start. It's okay. We're not syndicated yet. Let me get the music up. Okay. As promised, I got the intro going for Dad. I mean, the outro, so you'll be very pleased to hear that at the end of the show. If you don't know what I'm talking about,
Very professional.
just stay tuned. It's epic. Odie, good morning. It's always a pleasure to see you jump in. Okay, let us roll the...
Yeah, making fun of the shaved hair. Twins.
Yeah.
Twinning.
So oddly enough, Patrick shaved his. I'm growing mine out. So you guys get to watch the unfolding of all the awkward stages, and we'll see how that goes.
It's in transition.
Yeah.
He has the most beautiful silver hair. When he gets in the sunlight, it just glows. It's awesome.
Thank you, babe. It is weird. It's like tinsel in one, just a couple different strands. It's weird.
Natural highlights.
Yeah. Natural chrome highlights. Okay.
I remember the last time you grew your hair out and you went to work and people were like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize you had hair. I thought you were bald.
Yeah, it's just like that. I don't know if that's a discrimination thing or not, but the comment is, oh my God, John, I always thought you were bald. Okay. Patrick, you can tell the difference between a bald guy and a guy that shaves his head, right? I can.
Yeah, I mean, I don't try to tend to dwell on it because I'm just missing mine as it's sliding off the back of my head. So when it's hot like this, I embrace the fact that I can keep
There you
it
go.
shorn.
Well, you have at least you have a nice dome.
Yep.
Yeah. I was telling Patrick he looks like he's got vitality. He looks healthy and good.
Yeah.
It's the thing
It's
I
a
noticed.
good look for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as I got rid of all the hair, it's basically like solar panels just energizing me. So.
Nice.
All right, let's roll the intros.
This podcast contains adult themes and language. The views expressed here are our own opinions and experiences. We are not medical professionals.
In this podcast, we discuss our opinions about mental health, sobriety, addiction, and our pursuit of happiness and peace. This is Sober Mind.
Odie called you Lex Luthor.
Lex Luthor vibes, yeah.
So,
I've been called worse. So.
yeah, no kidding, me too. Let's talk about the week. Babe, I was saving this. I think I told you about this in a roundabout way, but I wanted to share it with Patrick. I am genuinely feeling consistently very good. It's a nice thing for me. I've been enjoying what I'm doing at work, like having a fun time, which is really refreshing. I haven't had fun in over 10 years at work.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I've been almost having little moments of serenity and peace, which has been really refreshing. I had,
That's good.
yeah, I realized this morning, so I want to give a quick update. I had a bunch of people went in, and I don't know what happened, if it was like, summer vacation ending or something, but there was a bunch of views on my Effexor Wellbutrin update, this live stream that I did on my own one day, about how it was going when I first got on them. I got a ton of comments from a bunch of people, and I answered a couple of them. Sorry if I didn't answer everybody's, but they had a bunch of questions about it and wanted some more updates. So there's just not a ton of information out there, especially when you have all the different combinations of it. So I'll just do a brief update now, and we'll just call it April, May. Towards the beginning of May, I essentially cold turkey, white knuckle, quit Wellbutrin, which is
Not advised.
yeah, this is not medical advice. Don't do this. Go talk to a pro. But I quit Wellbutrin, Effexor. I was 150 milligrams of both of those, and Depakote. And then a couple weeks later, I quit caffeine too, which has talk about being at a really good baseline now. That's what I've been feeling. Sleep is good. I think this is it. I think this is kind of maybe like
Is this your baseline?
it's like the beginning of the end. I think this is the baseline. Now I've been finding myself really being able to focus on continuing to do work on myself without a ton of me all over the fucking place distracting myself. Like I'm finding
Without
my
the
focus.
clown show.
That's good.
Yeah. So that's an update for me.
Good deal. Good for you, honey.
Yeah. Thank you. And again, babe, Judith, my love, thanks for being patient all this time with me. I know it was a fucking clown show, man, roller coaster. Like, hey, I'm making a medication adjustment. And Judy'd be like, oh, Jesus Christ almighty.
Buckle up.
Buckle up again. Here we go.
Here we go.
3 more weeks of this shit. Actually, she never said that. She's like, hey, no problem. I'm here for you.
That's awesome.
I meant to ask Patrick, how are you doing on no caffeine?
No caffeine is good. Again, it's not as dramatic as, John was sharing, but, taking time to find a new baseline as well. Just adjusting to sleep. My output for, work and chores and all that thing is like really consistently strong. What I'm getting used to is kind of trying to find the things and the routines that give me energy, because I wouldn't take time for the self-care either in the morning to get ready. And I'm not talking about like just brushing your teeth or anything, like if you need to go for a walk or stretch out or stuff like that, like
5-minute meditation or
exactly. So
Yeah.
I'm still struggling to try and find that because I was just used to like being a zombie until I cracked that coffee open, and then and then I would, like every good addict, after I had my morning coffee, I'd take like a pre-workout for my afternoon workout sessions, and then I'd just like be powering through the day like that. So it's a balance. The cognitive capabilities are definitely it doesn't feel like it's all over the place. So,
good deal. That must be nice.
Yeah.
Yep, it's definitely. I'm normally an afternoon runner, and then the heat right now is really keeping me from that. So that's kind of like that's first world problems, right?
Yeah.
So it's like now I gotta since I don't like coffee, or now that I'm not on caffeine and I need to move my workouts, it's like, all right, next thing to do is just do it in the morning. And it's just that I'm trying to get there. So
Yeah.
that's it.
It is rough to get that going. I've been getting up with my new work schedule, I have to get up at 4:30, and then I'll be very candid. Then I come in here and I have a cup of decaf. I got to wait before I go poopers. Because many times
You
it
don't want
happens.
to be out in the middle of a run and woo, code brown.
Code brown. It's happened.
Yeah, it's a thing.
So anyway, I wake up at 4:30, get that going, probably head out around 5 o'clock and get the day going. But Patrick and I are going to start training for the Longview Half Marathon
Woohoo!
Labor Day weekend. So it's I think it's November 6th or something like that. I think.
Yep.
look, historically, that's one of my, it's the most brutal
Yes.
half marathon that we did in our repertoire of all the half marathons, just because it's cold and desolate and sad and depressing. But then
Dude, this pitch is awesome.
I know.
I am.
But babe, I was telling Patrick, like, I've never ran a half marathon with someone, because
That's true.
Sarah, who used to run, she would just take off and smoke me. So that wasn't even a thing. She's a half an hour faster.
And I'm like a half an hour slower.
Yeah. So it was me in the middle of the pack. So this is going to be fun. And so what's the reward at the end? We're going to burn about 1,000 calories plus. So we're going to Jack Stack.
All right.
I'm having a,
Just a giant bowl of the corn.
cheesy
I don't want
corn.
anything else. Just a giant bowl of it.
Yeah, we can have that. Carrot cake for dessert, and I'm having a Hatfield with brisket and smoked turkey and French fries. Man, my mouth is watering.
Yeah, right. Way to get started. It's like watching the Food Network before you go shopping.
I know.
It's like,
Oh, it's
why
horrible.
would you do that?
Never go shopping hungry.
Yeah. Okay, we are going to switch it up a little bit. So is that okay if we switch it up with the videos? We still have some Michael Singer to finish.
Well, I mean, what if I said no? I mean, I'm here in the seat. This train's moving. Let's just roll with it. Okay. I kid. Yeah. No, I mean, we've shown that, we have multiple jumping off points, and it just takes a comment or two to get us started. So
Okay. All right, let me get this one queued up, and I think it will spark some discussion here. Don't play. Here we go. Babe, do you want to give an update on how you're doing or what's going on, how your week has been?
It's been really good. I've been very stable emotionally and just been in a really, really good frame of mind throughout the day. It's been fantastic. I mean, I've been able to find those times during my day to take a few minutes out and to do something that I enjoy, which has helped a lot. But other than that, it's been really nice. I've been in pretty even keel, which has been lovely.
Yeah.
That's it.
I've made some cautious comments. It's weird, like, "Are you okay? Seems very nice."
Yeah, you've been in a really good mood the past couple days. Are you feeling good?
Yeah, so it's good. Oh, the other thing with that I've noticed that I wanted to share is summertime. Like I said, I do not like the summertime. I know some people hate hearing that, but I just don't. The heat kills me. I love spring, I love fall, and I love wintertime. The colder it is, the happier I am outside.
Well, you're Viking, so
I'm something. So, especially when we're running, I've been noticing that. So lately, there's a certain hill that I run, and in the wintertime when the sun is coming up, Odie, spring for the win. When the sun is coming up, it's just like really bright in the wintertime, because the sun's at the certain apex, and I always just get really happy breathing the cold air and
yes.
exhaling on this certain hill that I run. Like I said, I've been noticing that I've been able to get that almost similar feeling now in the summertime, because I think of, with all the stuff that's going on with me and getting better, I'm having like realistic human being fucking happy moments.
that aren't chemically induced.
Yeah. I'm just like, oh my God, this just sweat nonstop. It doesn't matter what I do. I can't figure out a way to keep it out of my eyes.
Right.
But I'm like, I feel good. I'm happy, yet angry, but happy at the same time. So,
Except for today. Today was miserable. Today was just you could like use a knife to cut the air. It was just.
We got out there way too late.
Not enough sweatpants in the world for me for that one.
No. Yeah, so I was gonna tell you
That's first world problems too.
Yeah.
Like I cut the hair. I mean, I usually do it like every couple of years, just go short. And I always forget. I'm like, oh yeah, you need like something to collect the sweat now,
yeah,
or just carry around a squeegee.
hair, nature's mop. But
You know what? It doesn't always work. I mean, I got hair down to almost to my waist, and it doesn't always work. I still have to wear a hat to keep it out of my eyes. So there you have it.
yep,
It's just hot.
it is hot.
Yeah, it's just hot. I mean, I could stand out here and look outside, and I start sweating. I'm not even out there.
Okay, we're gonna jump into a different series, and I got a couple more queued up. Reason we get some feedback that people love the videos, and so we got to figure out. I'm gonna go find another series with the 11 steps. That was really good for the oddly specific childhood behaviors. This one is I think kind of broken down, but we'll see. We'll do like a 3-minute chunk of this. This is Dr. Joe Dispenza. Judy, you'll recognize him from the Secret. Did you ever read The Secret, Patrick? Ever watch the movie?
I did not.
It's one of those
Law
things.
of attraction.
Yeah, law of attraction. Like, think good stuff will happen to you. But
It's very karmic based.
Yeah, self-fulfilling prophecies.
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
the way they get into it though is they, like, you're watching the whole video, you're like, oh man, there's gonna be a secret at the end that makes me rich, and basically the end is just fucking be happy and do good stuff.
You've
Yeah.
already known the secret.
Yeah. So, babe, if you want, you can open up another browser and watch our stream on YouTube. I should have set that up, but Patrick interrupted our flow. He was in here jibber jabbing, and
It's all my fault.
anyway, you'll be able to hear it. So here we go. Stress is killing you. This is why, and what you can do about it.
It's a scientific fact that the hormones of stress downregulate genes and create disease, long-term effects. Human beings, because of the size of the neocortex, we can turn on the stress response just by thought alone. We can think about our problems and turn on those chemicals. That means then our thoughts could make us sick. So if it's possible that our thoughts could make us sick, is it possible then our thoughts could make us well? And the answer is absolutely yes. All organisms in nature can tolerate short-term stress. You know, a deer gets chased by a pack of coyotes. When it outruns the coyotes, it goes back to grazing and the event is over. And the definition of stress is when your brain and body are knocked out of balance, out of homeostasis. The stress response is what the body innately does to return itself back to order. So you're driving down the road, someone cuts you off, you jam on the brakes, you give them the finger, and then you settle back down and the event is over and boom, now everything's back to normal. But what if it's your coworker sitting right next to you and all day long you're turning on those chemicals because they're pushing all your emotional buttons. When you turn on the stress response and you can't turn it off, now you're headed for disease because no organism in nature can live in emergency mode for that extended period of time. 95% of who we are by the time we're 35 years old is a memorized set of behaviors, emotional reactions, unconscious habits, hardwired attitudes, beliefs, and perceptions that function like a computer program. So then a person can say with their 5% of their conscious mind, I want to be healthy, I want to be happy, I want to be free. But the body's on a whole different program. A habit is a redundant set of automatic, unconscious thoughts, behaviors, and emotions that's acquired through repetition. So if you think about it, people wake up in the morning, they begin to think about their problems. Those problems are circuits of memories in the brain. Each one of those memories are connected to people and things at certain times and places. And if the brain is a record of the past, the moment they start their day, they're already thinking in the past. Each one of those memories has an emotion. Emotions are the end product of past experiences. So the moment they recall those memories of their problems, they all of a sudden feel unhappy, they feel sad, they feel pain. Now, how you think and how you feel creates your state of being. So the person's entire state of being when they start their day is in the past. So what does that mean? The familiar past will sooner or later be predictable future.
That's a good place to pause. So
Yeah.
100% true. Patrick, do you want to chime in? Let me call out though that I have a Ford Ranger. and the person that was driving angrily around, I don't know who edited this together, but they were clearly driving a Toyota Tacoma. Patrick, almost your exact truck.
Right.
Okay.
But I saw some Chicago Electric tools in the truck, so
Oh,
Oh dang, it was me. So do you want to go, or I have some thoughts.
you got some queued up. Let's hear it.
I do. So this is, I've caught myself lately doing this, and I got to be very cognizant of it. Number one, I don't wake up and look at the bank account and see what the bills are going through, because you have all day to do that shit. When I do that, I really, if it's not pleasant, whatever it is that I do, so, looking at emails or whatever, I don't do that in bed. I haven't done that in a while. Get up, get your day started, get into, I go to the kitchen, I start making decaf coffee, and I look outside. The sun might be coming up. Ozzy comes out. I pet him. I just embrace being in the now. I know it's very easier said than done. I know that. This is why I think sometimes especially with Judy, when she has a bad dream about the past or something, she wakes up. She can't shake herself from it. Like, it fucks up her whole day.
it's difficult.
Yeah, and I've been guilty of that too. So I think that's why dreams are so profound sometimes. But man, I thought this was very apropos, I think, for the journey that all three of us are on, because we have to be super conscious of it. And I catch myself, like, I got tons of examples of stuff that could just start to set me, let's just call it the left-hand side of happiness. And then my 50 years of behavior, like they say, and that's so true, I've got all this learned emotion where I'm just like being anxious and then being frustrated and mad. And instead of problem solving and trying to be happy about some shit that I can figure out anyway, it slides to the left, and it'll really just keep going until I'm like, hey, fucking snap out of it, man. I got to catch myself, like, stop, it's okay. Be happy. But I've reacted so much and so long like that all of my adult life. I was thinking yesterday driving home, I've been commuting in traffic lately, and I was remembering back to how I used to be just 6-7 years ago. A fucking tyrannical, angry driving mess. And now I'm just like sitting there calm and peaceful. I'm going to get home at the same time, just watching other people going wacky-doo. And I'm like, man, I feel really happy that I'm in the spot where I'm at now. It's taken a lot of work. It's been frustrating at times, but I'm glad I have the wherewithal to be able to stop myself and go, hey man, pull yourself out of this. It's okay. Be happy. Always trying to practice some form of gratitude, knowing that here we are in America from the comfort of our air conditioned home, being able to do these things, stream across the world and be able to just take care of ourselves financially and medically, and then we let ourselves get into a position where we bitch and moan about the stupidest shit. I always equate it to the time I realized, and I have a joke with Judy. I gotta formulate this joke to make it a good sentence somewhere, but it is this: I can imagine that people in Ethiopia go, wait a fucking minute. You have eating contests?
Yeah.
You have people that are so fat that it's a thing. Yeah. Hot dog eating contest? Yeah. That's it. That's my analogy of gratitude. Is there's people that watch us having competitions to see how much food we can eat when they're like, I don't have a fucking cup of rice to bring home
Yeah.
to feed my family.
Very true.
So that's my tirade of that, is that I'll be very interested to continue this to see where we're going with the stress. But man, Patrick, Judy knows I have such a profound cortisol release when I'm stressed out. Like I can feel it in my muscles. Like it's poison. You know what I mean? I'm just not well.
I think this was the same. I'm not sure, but I think this was the same guy that said disease is a body that's not at ease. So it's very much emotions are very much in control of a lot of the chemicals and a lot of the functions of the body, more than just, how I feel about something.
Yeah.
I mean, literally how you feel about it.
There are just so many common themes in this video that we talk about. I like to talk about, prediction modeling machines, and we're writing on an OS, an operating system. And then as new information comes in, we have to take time to rewrite that. That's unlearning old habits, learning new ones, incorporating new information. So, it's very, there's a lot of common things that we talk about, and, it's very understandable. We talk about when you're in flight or fight mode, it's like running your car on NOS just to like go down the street or whatever. You're just going to burn yourself out and destroy yourself. I mean, you may get there faster in that short-term moment, but so a lot of common themes on that. And I really love the interplay between, the emotional connection with thoughts and our behaviors and everything like that, and how our mind affects that, and how that affects our mind. So there's a duality there, right? There's an interplay.
Symbiotic, yeah.
Yep. For me, I don't know what you guys would take of this, but for me, immediately what popped up is when we talk about, unlike any other creature, we have, like, he talked about why fight or flight is so important. Like, it keeps us in survival. Like, that is a gift for us, right? To be able to like just hijack our system and just go and survive. But the fact that we were also given the gift that we have enough structure and architecture in our thoughts to actually manipulate those mechanisms that keep us safe, right? Like, we have the power of thought. And that to me is what would you call that? That's the gift of fire from the gods. That's Pandora's
Cognitive
box.
thinking.
That's also falling from the Garden of Eden, right? The gift of knowledge, right? It's a double-edged sword is what I'm trying to say. Like,
Free will.
it's amazing, but
Yeah.
it's also can be the warden of our own prison too.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
if it's not managed properly. I mean, we all have to go through life and learn and evolve and do all that stuff, and it's the stagnating points that are the issue, is when you can't push yourself forward, or you can't reprogram to a better or an upgraded version of yourself. Those are the stumbling blocks that we all run into as humans.
I think that's an important point with this theory that we're testing here. And I think Tony Robbins has a part where he talks about it, 6 basic human needs, but change is one of the top ones, so
The only consistency in life is change.
right. So learning it, with change is an opportunity to grow and to further, like, our prediction modeling machines wants to run consistently, but in order for them, to continue to exist, you can't just push autopilot and say, I'm fine. I hit 35. I'm done ingesting all the information I need. I know how to behave and react to everything. Like, you have to constantly challenge and change and grow to continue to fine tune that, in order to not just to grow, but he also mentions that Dr. Dispenza, speaks of, reaching like a homeostasis, this in the Zen world, this is balance, this is harmony, right? Equanimity. very important themes.
Yeah.
BRB.
Okay. So yeah, this is I think there's a huge contributing factor to, we have these external influences, and then of course just our own train of thought that I am working on harnessing better, if that makes sense. Being very cognizant of it, being self-aware, and taking a lot of pause with reaction to make sure that I'm not responding with old emotion. And then in turn, it just makes me feel better.
Mm-hmm.
I've been meaning to tell you also, I was thinking on my run this morning, meditating and running in pure hell, humid Midwest,
There we go.
about how good I have felt about myself lately, which is that's been rare my whole life. I think we all exude a persona of confidence and badassery sometimes, but this is really the first time in a long time that I've started to feel good about myself. So trying to harness that presence and being cognitive of that is very important to me.
Like a new operating system, it takes time to run, like learning self-care and self-validation. It's not like as if we can flash our memory and reboot the system and it's like a totally different thing, right? It's what I'm trying to say is you got to practice. It takes practice and time, even though that your brain can see it, it takes a new information in.
Yeah.
Learning how to take care of yourself and self-validate, it doesn't, you don't immediately go throughout the day and you're like, all right, I know how to self-validate. I'm good 24 hours. It's like, no, it's all these little tiny inner struggles where you feel awkward the first time you do it, and then you don't know how to approach it, or when it pops up one time that you feel like you could self-validate, it feels confusing maybe, and to maybe and maybe the next time you grant yourself to be self-validated, and then you feel kind of unease sitting with it a little longer because you're like, I'm not used to this place, right? I feel selfish. I feel like I don't deserve this, or
Oh, that's
like,
a good one.
or you just get scared of it and you just kind of like let it go and walk away like you didn't know what happened, right? So it's the reps, right? So next time you find either smaller instances or other ways to do it and kind of just grow that muscle, I don't know, like
Create those habits.
Yeah, I'd be interested to hear what the rest is in the video, because he hit on some very strong things that are
underlying
items of our state of being, habits, emotional attachment with things. We've talked about, if stuff's going on, whatever you're interpreting, whatever you get stuck on, like if you're angry, sad, happy, remember that's a you problem. That's not a world problem. Everything else is going to happen regardless of you. But what I'm trying to say is habits, emotional states, memories, all these things are basically the fundamental underlying architecture of our operating system.
Right.
Yeah. Also, being aware of yourself, being aware of your reactions is really important too, and being in control of yourself and not letting the environment be in control of you.
Yes.
Meaning, all of the nasty stuff that happens during your day, or whatever influences you or whatever bugs you during your day, allowing that to take precedence in your brain as opposed to processing it and letting it go and not thinking about it.
So I would even argue that I agree. But remember when we talk about the victim complex and the drama triangle?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
About how the victim, this is not my fault. This and this happened to me. I would be happy if this and this didn't happen, or this person didn't say anything about me, right? Like putting your happiness or your state of being contingent on others' actions.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm not going to do X until Y happens.
Right. So, and what we do to cure that is raising awareness, like you talk about, right? Correct? But what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say is that's just our old operating system. That is ego refusing to yield. Uh, ego wants to say, I am correct. I don't need to change. Everything else needs to happen for me, like,
Mm-hmm.
or in regards to how I feel. So it feels attacked, right? So it'll reach out and blame and everything. And until you, again, that's part of the process of upgrading your operating system. I mean, when we're in development, in our youth, gaining a sense of I is very important to understand your location in society and in not just society, but just relation to everything around you. That's how you interpret everything. It's just that some of us reach arrested development for the next couple decades, and it's funny saying that out loud now. Like I almost think alcohol is like, think of it as an altering drug, but I also think it has like a stasis effect too. Like it's just, it helps lock it instead of being able to grow that awareness, like a garden that can't grow a particular item. You're just basically salting the earth of your emotional development.
Oh, that's nice. I like
I
that.
like that. Yeah. You're right. I never really thought about it that way.
Yeah, stunting your growth with alcohol.
Well, because that really starts to put a bow on the healing process that I struggle to describe. It's the cliche of get sober, shit's supposed to go well, but then I'm that example of motherfucker, man. Struggling after 60 days. It's like, oh my god, then I just went into psychological hell, and that's because the garden is starting to grow.
Yeah. Now that you finally like removed all the chemicals and impurities from your garden, it doesn't appear, right? You have to actually go through the effort of like growing and tending and everything. And now you have like, now that you're growing stuff, you're like, oh shit, I've never grown anything here before. I have to figure out, the watering cycle of how much sunlight it needs, and like
And the periodic weeding you have to do throughout that growing session. You still have to go back in and pull the weeds. It's there's still going to be things that are going to be recurring in your life that you still have to address.
Yeah.
But that's the process.
That's a very apt metaphor.
Yes. Very. Very, very deep one today.
It's like your little plant of, the happiness that you talk about, being able to go on a run, that's your happy little tree that appeared, Bob Ross that into existence, John.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I'm on a run. It's a happy little run.
Yeah.
Instead of like, in the past, like alcohol would have been like all right, time to salt the garden bed, that emotion, boop, just put everything in stasis. I don't want to deal with certain things.
And we're just going to put a black tarp over that.
Right.
Yeah.
And the creation of that is like, it's scary when that appears for the first time and we begin to self-validate, because some of the underlying fears, when that plant appears into the garden for the first time, it's like, well, what if it doesn't make it? What if it turns out wrong? What if it grows wrong? What if it's not what I'm expecting? Right. That's like some of that fear. And so you just want to like either get rid of it and start over. And I realize for the state of things of where they're at, the person that you are today in front of me, the person that I've grown to be, and like you, Judy, like that little plant, it's nearly a miracle to be able to grow and contribute something like that. Right. Because we can think of all the things that are wrong with it or where it's not meeting expectation, but the fact of all the other possible outcomes in life that could have happened, the vast majority show that it shouldn't be there, right? What if the garden bed wasn't there? What if you weren't around to tend to it? What if that seed wasn't there? Like, of all the possible permutations that happens, the vast majority is its non-existence. And the fact that it's still here is a very wonderful gift.
Like the lotus flower.
Much like the lotus flower, much like you and me and everybody else, like everything that has happened is it's such a wonderful gift, and it takes again habits and that muscle memory instead of just like being able to focus on why is it growing wrong, you know, why isn't this run going the way I want to? Why isn't my life going the way it wants to? It's just, like learning. Another topic that we've talked about is, surrender to certain things like that. Right.
Yeah. Just acknowledge it, process it, embrace it, let it go.
Yeah. So many moving parts to it. And plus I think there's the actual physical healing of the cortex of our brains that I have yellowed for 30 years of hard drinking. There's a lot to it. I often see comments about, when I post one of the shorts and I say, I didn't realize that almost 2 years in, sobriety would be such a good place. Then you hear I read the paradoxes of, the person that says, oh, I'm 6 years into sobriety and I'm just fucking miserable. I feel very bad for that person because they need to do a lot of work. There's something else missing. That's not the artifact of sobriety. It's the opposite. But then I also read people are like, oh, you think it's good at 2 years? Just wait till you hit like 6 years. And I'm like, wow, that shows your mileage will vary, of course. But
exactly.
It depends. I think how willing you are to put in the work to,
Got to tend that garden.
You have to.
Yeah.
And, I like that I'm able to catch myself. I'll give an example. I catch myself having verbal exchanges, and I can edit them much better in real time. I used to not do that, even not when I was drunk, but the sober portion of me, my brain operated a lot differently. So the example is, there was a guy I was talking to, and he's trying to build out some stuff at his house, and he does not understand woodworking at all. And he was asking me some questions, and my old me, and it came out, was I started to react with like, what the fuck? How do you not know that? And
How are
then
you still breathing?
then I very quickly flipped that around, and my brain I was proud of myself because I was like, because he doesn't. John, you're not a fucking rocket scientist. You don't know how to, build rocket computers and shit. You don't understand how a central processing unit can have so many resistors in it. And the people that make that be like, you're a dumbass because you don't know that. So I really caught myself, and I used these moments of, let me have ego get out of my way, and this is an opportunity for me to teach.
I love, it is always a constant reminder of like just returning to breath. The other one for me is, what is this moment here to teach me?
Right.
And that question, that question buries the lead. And what I mean by that is like, if you have the humility to ask, what is this moment here to teach you? You again are coming, we're talking about framing it and placing a state of being immediately from asking a question. And part of that is like, what is this moment here to teach me? Just by asking that question, you're raising your awareness because you realize you don't have all the information for the situation, right? Your prediction modeling machine is incomplete. Your ego is not right and all knowing. What is this moment here to teach me? And if you don't have an answer for that question, then it's time to really take a look. Because if you think everything unfolded and happened exactly to plan, the way your ego or your mind thought, then I would still say that might be an opportunity to take a look because you're just missing overlooking some items, or there's some items not seen.
Agreed. I'm gonna figure out a way to have that pop into my head. What is this moment here to teach me? Yeah. This has been a very enlightening show today. I feel good.
You know, it gets kind of. I want to see more of this video because these moments can get kind of dark and scary when we've talked about you are the captain of your own ship, or you're, you know, the creator of your own, you know, the self-fulfilling prophecies and everything like that. If you can affect your state of being and emotions and habits through your thoughts, and they can affect your thoughts vice versa, right? You know, that's a really fucking scary place for some people,
Oh, for sure.
you know. And
Well,
Yeah.
and it's, you know, not only scary because you may have to realize of the prison that you built, but then it's scary that you realize you may not have the tools currently to get yourself out of that, or put you where you need to be, or want to be, I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hard when you're kind of just floundering around, and you don't have a direction. You don't have, like you said, you don't have the tools to pull yourself out of that. You can't move yourself from your basal instincts up to your higher self and move forward out of it. You're just kind of floundering around.
So if you take the what is this moment here to teach me when we get scared in those situations or want to deny, you know, it is so amazing. Hey, I may not have the answers, or I may not have the skills to deal with these things, and I'm in a really not good place right now. But good news is I don't have to stay here. I don't know the way out, but I know it can change, and there's stuff out there, you know. And so I get to continue asking questions. I get to continue to for a chance to grow, to rewrite my operating system or whatever, you know. So
Yeah, it's having that seeking mind. That's very much a Buddhist philosophy too, is having that seeking mind, instead of just floundering around and staying, or, you know, grabbing a beer or a bong hit or whatever to cease that whole momentum forward.
be curious, not judgmental.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like the one of the ladies I listen to, Dr. Carolyn Mace, and she does energy anatomy, and she talks about the different chakras in the body and how we get ourselves stuck in the bottom lower chakras, you know, the 1, 2, 3, the base of the spine, the sex organs, and the belly.
Samskaras that attach to us there in those areas.
Yes. From our community, from our home, those, you know, kind of sit down in that area, and then we have trouble progressing into the higher ones, which is our sense of self and our willpower, and all of the ones that the heart, and all the ones above that, our sense of our, you know, higher being or whatever. And we get stuck in those basal chakras, and we can't motivate and can't move ourselves forward. And I like them. For me, that helps me to kind of visualize how to move forward, or how to adjust my thinking in a second to pull it from those basal areas up to my higher self, up to where I want it to be. So for me, that's kind of how a tool that helps me.
I love that because, you know, a decade ago, if you talked about chakras and samskaras to me, I'd be like, what
kind of hippie BS is this?
We're going to go burn some incense and
gonna go hug a tree.
You know, Michael Singer talks about relation to some of those. And I really like a lot of his work because there's a direct connection between what you're talking about with
Energy
centers and what Dr. Joe Dispenza is talking about here. They are different sides of the same coin. They are just different languages to begin to describe how our mental constructs and everything work and interact with each other. And, you know, the energies you talk about, you know, relate to sexual drives and emotional states, whereas we can have sense of self and sense of thinking and intellect. You know, Whereas the science side, talk directly to like some of the hormones and everything and how the body reacts and where a lot of the processing happens in our brains when we're in certain states. That is, I may sound kind of wordy or have a word salad here, but I think that is an important aspect of raising awareness is, just because you may not understand it doesn't mean it exists. Like the chakras and stuff like that. My point is, when I was drunk all the time, like I felt like the world had to be a certain way, or like I was struggling with the world being a certain way. To raise awareness, I had to grant myself the space to begin to understand and go out and find your own modalities. That's why I always talk about this here of like your path to sobriety is going to be very different for everybody, and going out and finding that modality is so important. It may be AA, it may be SMART, it may be Dharma
Al-Anon.
Recovery, it may be Al-Anon, it may be therapy.
Maybe a podcast.
Maybe a podcast, maybe a mix of all these different items, because they begin to address these things in so many different aspects. I mean, how many times have you had that in life where you might either be working out or doing a chore or something, and you're very like in the moment, and you either connect with something and then something else inexplicably opens up, like, I may be sweeping or mowing the lawn, and that light bulb moment for like that issue that I was stuck on at work would be like, oh man, what if you approached it this way? Right. That's the growth that I'm talking. That's all that combing through those modalities, seeking that information out, being curious, like that is us tending to our garden.
Most definitely.
And I feel like, and now that I really look at it, I really like the analogy of, addiction basically salting that earth, because it has done everything to take me away from those tiny little intricacies that we get to do to grow ourselves every day.
Yeah.
Either by like just purely taking over the time to do that, or just hijacking the brain, of, when you get stuck in drinking thinking, which is like, well, I'm working now. I only have 60 minutes until I can get home. And then from there is like 15 minutes where I can crack a beer. And then there I can have like 4 beers before I can it's like, you could be thinking about like a lot of other things, maybe trying to release yourself from your spiritual prison, but like whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very much a disconnect between our day-to-day life and our higher self. It completely disconnects you from being open to receive those inspirations, those light bulbs. It
Yep.
dumbs you down.
I was just laughing. I'm glad I'm not the only one that ever did that. The calculated, how much can I drink before I get X drunk, so I can still function if I get up at X time in the morning and I go to work, and then fucking madness, man.
It's madness
Or
because
we have to go to a restaurant that has a bar, because we can't go to a restaurant that doesn't serve beer. What kind of restaurant is that?
Yeah.
That dichotomy was hilarious to me, because you would sit and you'd make, I don't know if it was anybody else, but if I wrote out that calculus in a single day's worth of time span, especially when I was stressed, for everything that I said, time until, and then I can have this many, and then you'd break it down that you could have these types of drinks,
Yeah.
You'd it'd be like you turning in a dissertation for, your doctorate. But yet once you got to the action, there is nothing organized about that. My brain was like, well, fuck, we're fucking here.
Yeah.
Bottoms up, bitches.
Yeah.
Full steam ahead.
Yeah.
I lost my spreadsheet.
Yeah,
Fuck it.
Yeah, right? Right? It's just so... Like the brain would do anything to not process like any other emotions is that's the whole facade, busy doing drinking, thinking, and then you're doing the drinking. It's just like, all right, as long as we're not in that other place, fuck it. I don't care what you call this.
Oh, Jesus. Yep. So many
The
times.
things we used to do.
Man, if you're going through that, bless your soul, man. Figure it out.
that is definitely a time waster right there.
There's so many. I acknowledged it too. I'm like, this is madness. What am I doing? Fuck it. No time right now to address this. Get drunk.
And, since we like to be prediction modeling machines, like, think about how angry or upset or frustrated you were when you spent the entire 8 hours being like, I can drink at this point. And when that time gets there, oh, hey, I need you to go out and pick up the kids, or I need you to do this chore, or
was horrible.
oh, hey, I forgot, or somebody, something else happened, life happened, and would keep you from that, but you don't understand. I did my homework. It's right here. It says at this time I could have a drink.
Yeah.
Or I could start drinking,
Yeah. A lot of wasted, for Judy and I, it was a lot of wasted, meaningful relationship building too. There's people that asked us like, hey, could you come help me move a couch? It's like, oh,
Not at that time, no, because I'll be
No.
drinking.
we would make
am
up,
I on the couch while it's moving? Maybe.
we would make up weird excuses too. I can't remember what they were now, but it was just like, no, we don't do stuff on Sundays.
Yes. We don't do
like-
anything on Sundays. It's because
or-
we had a hangover. We
Or
couldn't-
weeknights or mornings.
I'll be honest too. For me, this journey to sobriety has reawakened my path to spirituality, and I want to be very specific because for some people it's very different. For me, religion and spirituality are not necessarily the same thing.
I like how guarded you became. You're like, whoa.
Religion is a very close
Oh,
guarded
very personal.
identity
Oh, yeah,
for a
for
lot
sure.
of people. And, that there's a lot of dogmas, stigmas, expectations, and everything written into that. But for a long time, but I grew up in kind of an odd religious mix, but I was very active in the community until I wasn't. When I had to go off on my own journey, my own walkabout, and figure out how I connected with higher beings in the universe and everything like that. But my point with that is, deep in that state of drunkenness, like I would either purposefully or, like Saturday night was like perfect because, if you're not doing anything Sunday morning, if somebody's going to be like, well, let's do stuff Sunday morning. You're like, just sorry, man. It's almost because that is a time of service for most people. I was unabashedly abusing that, right?
Yeah.
I
Judy
always
and I
thought-
did. Go ahead, babe.
I always thought that religion would be a philosophy that is practiced religiously. That's what my theory of religion was.
I like that.
But I mean, being raised Buddhist, I was not the norm either. But you're definitely right. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Where religion and spirituality I don't think they're the same thing. I mean, you can have spirituality through religion, but you can also have spirituality on its own.
Yep. That is a path that needs to be cultivated inside. And it looks very different for a lot of people. Like we talked about the modalities of wellness of being, spirituality is part of that. And it is, like I said, it's very different for everybody.
For sure.
Yeah, everybody's spiritual journey and everybody's sober journey is going to be their own personal journey.
Yep.
Did you want to talk about your spiritual awakening, or are you just sharing that that's a part of you that's been conscious lately?
I can touch on a part. I've been thinking about this for this show. I can touch on a part that is very particular for a lot of people for this, and it's going to be I don't know if it's going to be divisive, but there is seeing a lot more sober people now. You have more sober options and everything like that, and people finding different ways past to it has really encouraged me because a big sticking point before, I feel like 20 years ago, like if you talked about getting sober, the only path forward was AA, right? And I don't know if anybody here spent time with the big book, but you know, it's the Bible for AA.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Judy and I,
Right.
you know our story. Judy and I tried it. It just wasn't for us because because it just wasn't for
And
us.
a lot of and step one was very hard for me. But there's also a lot of other I was kind of turned off by some of the ones that I found because they had a lot of ceremonies that were they may not have been religious as they speak, but they were, I'm like, if you're going to show up and you have to open up with the Lord's Prayer, like these are like that stirred inside of me some issues that I personally dealt with and associations with other things. And I had a hard time with that.
Yeah,
And
they do say that you have to believe in a higher power, whether it be Jesus or Muhammad or Siddhartha or whatever that higher power is. You got to believe in. It helps with their practice if you believe in a higher power.
And I was angry about that because I didn't. And I can tell you, my awakening was getting to that point, and it may be selfish of me, for some of the people who are like, of course, yeah, you finally got to that first step. But what I'd like to share was, I do have a higher power now, and it had to come forth on my own path. So an important part of recognition of a higher power and relinquishing yourself over to that, which is very important for AA, I have to give myself over to that will. Dr. Gabor Mate does this very well. He breaks this down at the end of his Hungry Ghosts book of why the 12 steps are so effective. But that first rule, acceptance of a higher power, is so empowering because it doesn't exist to say like, for me, all right, so this is for me. All right, this may be a different interpretation for somebody else, but recognition of a higher power isn't just relinquishing yourself as a victim or just saying, oh yeah, Jesus, take the wheel. It's not
Yeah.
that. It is death of ego. What it is, that is what it is to me. Death of ego. Like there is a beginning to create a point of reference outside of self. And that may seem really weird and metaphysical, but think about it as ego. When we were like in the victim complex, everything is interpreted through I, and for other people, that's why I think that higher power is so important because it begins that reference point outside of self.
Yeah, I agree. That makes a lot of sense.
And, and the fact that it's so fungible for AA, it's your higher power. It's the universe. It's Jesus. It's Muhammad. It's, I think that proves to the point that, it's here to break ego. But for me, when I was going through, it was like within my first year of sobriety, I was a very angry phase. For me, there's a concept in Japanese culture called mono no aware, which is the impermanence of being. Okay. And so what I'm trying to get at is, I talked about this before, but when you're in a bad situation, you're learning to tell yourself this too shall pass. It's scary even for the good stuff. We like to say this too shall pass in order to weather the storm. But what happens when it's with something good, right?
Yeah.
And what I'm trying to get at with this concept is like that garden, that whole little plant that showed up that is, just kind of little sitting there. It's not perfect, whatever. this right now, whatever we're dealing with, is the consequence of 14 billion years of, whatever you want to describe, God shaping it, the universe randomly doing whatever, somewhere in between all that. Everything has unfolded as it has to present the moment as it is for us, good, bad, and everything in between. And I get a chance to experience that. And it won't be here, and it will be gone, here in a few minutes. I am very thankful that I get to be a part of it. And everything would continue to go on around me even if I wasn't here. So that is the gift. That is my higher power, is that this is all fleeting, right? But we also get to participate in it. And, we are the captains of our own ship in that, meaning like, and it's so hard. We get to remind ourselves every day, if you want to be happy, be happy. You don't need to go out and buy a car. You don't need to go out and do this or dress a certain way or like attach yourself to like begin to layer all these expectations or items or drinking calculus to get you to a point of happy. Happy is here. What is this moment here to teach you? How can I find happiness in this moment is the next question. Even in the sad moments, because they don't have to exist. They are not mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
So that's a long explanation for my higher power, but it is my constant reminder to break ego.
I love it, man. That's great.
And I'm like so thankful for it.
Very profound.
Yeah. Babe, are your dogs fighting?
They're going absolutely Richter behind me. I keep trying to snap them out of it, but no.
All right.
But yeah, I like that what you just said. It's it's like you can be in a state of hell and enlightenment all in one moment.
Yeah. I got a lot to think about. Thanks for sharing that, Patrick. That was very nice.
I mean, we constantly do this all the time, thinking, our prediction modeling machines. We talked about my brother's dog passing.
Yeah.
Right. Grief is one of those, hard things to deal with. Right. It's, we want to protect ourselves. And so part of the grief process is to deny or dismiss, right? I don't want to think he's gone or whatever. Or I'm so sad. I don't want to think about him because it's so sad. But we
don't want to feel that hurt.
We get to do both. That reminds me of like, he is sad that he's not here, but, thankful for the times that we had, right? And I get to remember him being a silly, goofy dog, all the times he did eat a loaf of bread off the counter versus a time that like, that dog had no space bubble, and would come up and just, it's one of those mid-sized dogs that still thought he was a lap dog too. So, I mean, you get to think of that all together, right? That's us as people. We're not, we're stuck halfway between light and dark. And that's why I always try to argue there's no good or bad. It's just whatever we're ascribing ourselves to. Like we worry about where we're landing on either side of the spectrum, or good or bad, that we just rob ourselves of just being able to be.
I agree with you 100%. I wouldn't have agreed with you like 7 years ago, though.
I probably wouldn't either.
Yeah.
I probably would have looked, I've been like, whatever, who's got the fucking beer?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm being raised Buddhist. I knew the philosophies that were there. I just never put them into practice because I just didn't know. I can't say I didn't know how. I just didn't want to do the work because it is work. And I just didn't want to do it, and I didn't want to face it. So,
I mean, but there's a lot of themes that are also in Christianity too for that spiritual work too. And, you know, same with other religions, you know, Buddhism, I keep bringing it up because there's just a lot of aspects that end up being a little bit more psychological or the mental approach to it made a little bit more sense to me. And that's it. I'm not trying to say like it's the right one or anything. That's just one of the other languages too. So, you know, I get to intersperse it with other things I picked up along the way. And I wholly agree with you. You know, there are some aspects about Christianity that, you know, that was part of my spiritual awakening too. Like, I didn't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? There's a lot of aspects I still disagree with around structures and of that religion in a certain way, but there are some very wonderful aspects too, right?
Oh, for sure.
You know, both in light and dark. So
yeah. Dang. Patrick, thank you for your vulnerability today.
Talk.
Yeah. That's it. We got to go. We're over. The dogs are freaking out.
Yeah.
Oh, they're going
Patrick,
nuts.
thank you very much, man. You gave me a lot to think
thank
about
you.
today too.
That was fantastic.
That was a little 10-minute sprint there.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to uncork that one.
No,
That's okay. Bring it on.
We always remind ourselves, this is our show. This is what we're here to do. We just get together and we talk, and if people want to join us and listen, then go for it. Okay, whoever's going to listen to the podcast will be like, what the fuck are these people doing? Remember, Judy's just down the hall. I got some people who are like, where's your wife at? Does she live with you? I'm like, yeah, it's
just down the hall.
20 feet away. Okay. All right. I'm excited to wrap it up today because we got
the outro.
yeah, we got an outro. Long overdue. Long promised. Jesus. Okay. Dogs are going nuts. I apologize. Here we go. Yep.
Thanks for listening. Check out the Sobermind live stream at youtube.com/@sobermind.
If you or someone you know is struggling with mental health, please contact the Suicide and Crisis Hotline at 988. Also, if you need help with addiction recovery for yourself or someone you know, please check out Al-Anon. Be kind to yourself. Be patient with yourself. You are loved.
You are loved. Awesome. Remember
That was a good one.
Yeah, I used to have to read through all of that.
You forgot my little blurb at the end.
No, I did it.
Did you?
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I think you were yelling
bad.
at the dogs.
I was.
All right, everyone, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you for joining us today. I don't think we have our usual audiences. Someone's got some medical stuff going on and blah, blah, blah. But, man, we getting quite a following. Got a bunch of people subscribing. Got a ton of views lately on some stuff. So that's good. Okay. The dogs are chewing their faces off out there. All right, everyone, have a fantastic weekend. Be kind to yourselves. You heard Dad. If you're not, he'll come and haunt you in your sleep, man. All right. That's it. I'm wrapping it up. See you all next weekend. Bye.